Hello to all of you, welcome into Actress Vlog Season 3. Are you excited? Because I am, because I'm gonna have amazing guests for you today, guys. But before that, support the Actress Vlog and ring that bell. Today episode gonna be all about director, writer, co-founder of the Springhead film company, James Webber. We're gonna talk about him, about his work, and also I would ask him very important questions regarding the actors. So if you wanna find out his answers, just watch this episode. But let's go back to James. So, Driftwood, which won over 25 awards on the international festivals, including Coupe de Curé at the Cannes Festival, and also that film was shortlisted for BAFTA and BFI. That sounds amazing, huh? But there is more. Sorrow, which Kate Dickie, well known from GOT as a witch. Don't look at me like that. Yes, I'm talking about the Game of Thrones. Another on the list is The Prey, The Halloween Kid. James also worked with Film for Disney, Google, Amnesty International, Media Trust, MasterCard, Spectra, Academy and Sony. Beautiful, huh? But also there is a new project, Sorority, and this film gonna have premiere in 2021. I could tell you more about James myself because I did pretty much good research, but James, he's here with us today. So let me pass the stage of Actress Vlog to James and he can tell us more about himself. Hello James, it's so lovely to have you on the Actress Vlog. How are you today? I hope everything is fine in your world.
I'm great, thanks for asking me to come on and discuss my work. I'm currently enjoying the second UK lockdown but trying to keep as busy and creative as possible.
I know that I already covered quite lots of things about you and I give quite lots of information, but can you be so kind and tell us a little bit more about yourself? You know, where you coming from, how long you working with the industry, and how this actually happened that you decide to join this industry, that you decide to be a director, a writer, filmmaker.
I've always been passionate about cinema. I've always enjoyed watching films, and it's ever since I was a young boy. It's always been something that I don't know. I've been drawn to. So I guess choosing a career path as a filmmaker was always going to be the case. I studied film at Bournemouth, and really I would say my main film education was sort of after I graduated, making films with my friends and sort of learning how to make shorts, making a lot of mistakes and learning from those mistakes, and then every short that you make it slightly bigger and you learn new things. And I think that was really my main education. I managed to go full-time as a director it was just over 10 years ago now. Before that I was sort of running like a regular day job and making music videos, short films, corporate films, whatever really on the side. But I was able to leave that job and do this full time from that point on. And it's been a really great adventure so far.
That sounds fantastic. So I know that you're doing films, you're doing commercials, music videos. Can you tell me which one of those categories is your favorite? Or maybe simply you just love all of them equally?
I would probably say that my favourite to work, I'm definitely drawn to feature films. I think for most directors that's always the dream to make a feature. And it was feature films that sort of got me interested in the medium, so you sort of want to play in that side of things. But I do enjoy doing music videos. I've enjoyed quite pretty much lots of different genres of and types of filmmaking, but features definitely I think is kind of my first love.
I hope you're gonna make tons of great future films. I'm just guessing now, but I'm very curious, and probably my fellow actors and actresses as well, my colleagues. But I have to ask you, how was your work with the Kate Dickie on the Sorrow? What sort of actress she is? Did she's more like, kind of Stanislavski or Grotowski style? Did she have this like old-fashioned way of preparation, or she's kind of like more modern? And also, was your first choice for that film? Or did you have someone else on mind?
Working with Kate Dickie is a dream. She's an incredible actress. I remember seeing her in Andrew Arnold's first film, Red Road, and it's a remarkable performance, and she was just someone I would have killed to work with. So when we were making my short film Soror, which my feature Sorority is based on, I wrote the mother character in that film with her in mind. There was no kind of fallback option, which is a bit scary, I think, certainly as a writer-director, because if you don't get that person, it can hit you quite hard. But luckily we sent it to her via her agent, and she really loved it and came in for a few days, and was as fantastic as you would imagine she would be. Such a great actress, but I think what's really refreshing is she's just a really nice person as well. And sometimes those don't necessarily go hand in hand, but she's the real deal. And it was just such a great experience. So when we were making the feature film, it was it was kind of obvious that we would ask her to come back, and the role's very expanded, and it's not, I was very keen not for her just to come in and do the same character she'd already done, but for a longer period on the screen. So she really, the characters evolved, and it was really great to work with her again on Sorority. Her approach, I couldn't say whether it's old school or new school or whatever, but she works and approaches material in a way that I tend to with actors, where you break down the script, you look at what comes before the story, where the characters have been before the film even starts, and that's hugely important, because it creates like a very real history for the characters and makes them feel like more fully formed people. They don't just exist for 90 minutes on a screen. She also uses music to get in her headspace. So I remember she had a playlist she was listening to, and it helps her focus and get into the character that she's playing. And music's a big part of my process as well. I write to music. I often give actors playlists that their characters might listen to, and it just really helps. Sometimes it's music that I don't even necessarily like, but the character would really like that music. And I think it's just a really great way of sort of getting yourself in the headspace, and that's something we share in common. There's not enough time for me to say all the good things that I could say about Kate Dickie, and I really hope I can collaborate with her again in future. She's the best, yeah.
You could do it yourself, you know.
What?
Go away, do something. Eat something of yourself.
What do you mean, everything?
It's about us, isn't it? It's not about you or me, it's about us. That's what a relationship is.
I don't want to be apart from you.
Kate is going to be very happy with your answers. Like, seriously. Okay. So now, can you tell us about your biggest success so far?
I'm happy with some of the stuff that like my short films have achieved. I think like being on Channel 4 with Driftwood was a really big, unexpected thing that happened. They just dropped an email to me one day and said, would you like your short film to be on Channel 4? And I thought it was some sort of very elaborate spam message or something, but no, it actually was Channel 4. And that was really cool, and I was quite chuffed. But I don't know, I tend not to sort of look at things that way. I think it's more about what I want to achieve as a filmmaker, and not to rest on any laurels or whatever. I think the most important thing is, are people watching my work? Are people enjoying my work or connecting with it in some way? I think that's the biggest, awards, accolades, things like that. It's nice, but ultimately it doesn't really mean anything. The most important thing is, are people watching your work? And it's nice that certainly like my short film Driftwood, a lot of people did get to see that, and that's hugely rewarding, because myself and all the people who worked on it put so much hard work into making that short film. For it to find an audience is that's the biggest thing we could ask for. So yeah.
Can you tell what was the biggest failure so far in your career? Or maybe you don't have those ones at all. Or, for example, every single experience you just treating as a good lesson.
I think when you embark on a creative career, sometimes from the outside, I think you can look at filmmakers and think, wow, that person's incredible, they've achieved all these things, and you might sort of compare yourself to that person, but you don't see all the failures and the sleepless nights and the blood, sweat and tears that went into that person's success. You only see the end product of it. And I think that's really true. I think probably my biggest challenge as a creative. A few years ago, I was very close to making quite a big feature film, and it sort of fell apart very late in the process, and we had an incredible cast and crew, and it was, it was a difficult thing to go through, especially as a writer-director, where it's your own material and you put years of thought into making this film happen. Suddenly for it not to be happening, it's a difficult thing to deal with. But in a weird way, it was probably one of the best things to ever happen to me in my creative career. It didn't feel like it at the time. I ended up taking a bit of time out, just doing a lot of writing, and out of that came the script for Sorority, which did get made, and a few other projects as well. And actually I learned so much from that, and it's weirdly left me in a much better place than maybe if that film had been made. But it didn't feel like it at the time. It felt like a major setback. But I think sometimes you need that in your career. You need things to stand in your way, because when you overcome them, you end up with more knowledge, being stronger maybe even on the business side and stronger in the creative side, and you learn from that, and that's part of that experience. So I'm really happy that I went through that and learned that.
Wow, I must say I understand you very well. A few years back I had a project myself where I was actually cast, and we went quite far away with all of the preparation. I must say I already have whole script in my head, and I was dropped just before the final stage, and that was a very difficult situation for me. I remember I was pretty much sad, and I think that was a second time in my life when actually I literally cried. But similar like to your story, it turns out that there was actually a very positive thing that I didn't play in this film. So I know how you feel, and I know also how you feel now, because there is this sort of relief. Okay, but let's go back to the interview. I don't know if you remember, but on the beginning I was saying that I would like to ask you a question. But I'm a little bit cheeky, as you say in England, and I don't have only one question, because I got 3 questions. So I hope you don't mind. Let's go back to business. And the question number 1. How we, and actors and actresses hungry of this experience and this amazing adventure, which is a film set, how we can find out about your projects, how we can find out about your auditions, and do we have to have an agent to apply for your castings, or we can just try to approach you directly?
I think when people cast their projects, there's people work in different ways. Sometimes it's done completely through a casting director, and actually maybe they're the first port of call when a project's casting. I was actually quite hands-on in the casting of my feature film, and we did many different kind of approaches of how we cast the roles. Some of them were written specifically for actors, like Sophie Kennedy-Clarke, who's awesome, who I was friends with already, and she produced the film with me as well, and Kate Dickie, because we'd worked together previous, and Sam Gittins as well. But then, like the Emily Haig role, we did auditions where basically it wasn't an open audition process. I basically contacted actresses that I felt really did fit that character and would do really well in that role. We went through quite a lot of the big agencies to get them to come in and audition, but there were a few people who didn't even have agents, who came in and gave really great auditions. There were a few that were with like kind of a theatrical school, the Islington Young Actors Theatre, that I've cast roles from them before, and they sent a load of their students through. And yeah, so it wasn't kind of one approach that we took on the film. I would say the best thing to do is just get in touch, send your show reel, send your CV, and sometimes it feels, I think when people do that, they think it just goes in some folder and it's never looked at or it's never seen. I mean, I can't talk for other people or producers or directors, but I do look at it. And I have cast people off the back of just receiving something randomly one day through to my email. Someone say, you know, I watched some of your films, and if you're casting in the future, you know, and you think there's a role suitable for me, I'd love to come in and have a chat. And I think that's a perfectly acceptable way of finding people. So yeah, I would say keep, you know, connect on social media. I'm on Twitter, Director J Webber, our Facebook for our production company as well. If there are any auditions, quite often we'll post stuff on there as well. So it's if you just do a search on Facebook for the Springhead Film Company and like that page, you can get notifications via that as well. Yeah, so just don't be shy and say hello, and yeah.
Springhead Company. What are you waiting for? Just pop in and say hello. You ready for my next question? For the second question? What do you recommend to actors, actresses who coming to audition for your projects, or who going just simply for castings, auditions in general to different, you know, directors? How they supposed to prepare themselves? What maybe they should bring with them to the audition?
When it comes to auditions, I think probably the most important thing is to know exactly the script. I think it's okay sometimes just to have it there to refer to, but if you're just basically reading the words off of the page, you know, you are going to lose a degree of the naturalism, and you know, it's not going to be as come across as good as you would want it to in an audition. So I would say always be off book. I mean, something we did on our auditions for Sorority was to make sure that the actors had a good amount of time. I think they might have had about a week and a half to memorize the scene that they read for the audition off the top of my head. So you should, you know, have rehearsed and be very know that scene off by heart by that point. And I would say 95% of the people that came in did. A few didn't, and to be honest, that did make things a little bit more difficult in the audition. Just be yourself, be polite, be courteous to the people outside of the audition room as well, because I think if you come in and you're rude to them, the people inside the room will hear about that. And be on time. You know, obviously things happen sometimes, and you know, you might end up being slightly late for some completely you know, something completely not your fault, but yeah, try to be on time, which doesn't always happen. And if you can't make an audition, always say, because there's nothing worse than just standing there waiting for someone to turn up and they don't. It never looks good on an actor. But other than that, just come in and be yourself, and yeah.
So yeah, guys, learn, memorize, be prepared. Do not waste anybody's time. This is a very good, strong message. So next question, it's gonna be a little bit tricky, but is also very important for us. So I'm gonna be happy if you're gonna be able to answer that one. So as a director, what do you think about the show reels? As you know, they're quite often very expensive. So you as a director, do you prefer to get the showreel which is made from actual parts, even if this is only like 1 or 2 or 3 scenes? Or maybe it's just fine with you, for example, if the actor don't have yet those achievements, if they can just maybe record 1 or 2 or 3 monologues, like let's say 1 minute each, and they just gonna send this to you. Or you would, for example, recommend to go to some company who produce the showreels, you know, the one which they are made from those, like, as we saying, fake scenes, which not belongs to any longer project. I would be very happy if you can give us your point of view on that matter, on this subject, if you can give us your opinion.
When it comes to showreels, I think the most important thing is to be able to tell that the person whose showreel it is can act. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everything in there has to be, you know, super professionally shot with incredible lighting. And I mean, that's nice. If it was just an actor performing, you know, an emotional monologue to camera, and they're just filming it at home just with a DSLR pointing at themselves, the most important thing is they can act. I wouldn't care if, you know, there's not, you know, incredible cinematography. It's you know, I think, you know, as long as you hit the basics of quality, you know, that the sound is good and you can hear what's being said and the image is, you know, usable, I think that's the most important thing for me. I think if you have money to spend on getting scenes made, that's great, but it's not the be-all and end-all. I remember an actress that got quite far in the audition process of Sorority didn't really have a showreel, and what she did was she just got a friend to go out with, it might have even been a camera phone, and filmed her on the beach and recorded some dialogue just with her saying some things, and it was as rough as anything. Like, it was really you know, you could tell it was, you know, shot on a mobile phone, but actually the performance was really great, and the realism of shooting it on the phone made it even more intimate, and I actually thought that was a really cool idea. And yeah, so, you know, I think if you can spend money, that's great, and get like a, you know, someone to write you a showreel scene and shoot it, that's great. But, you know, you can do stuff yourself as well. It's never been more easy to sort of go out and shoot stuff yourself that's, you know, of a passable quality, and then it can, as long as it's about your acting, that's the most important thing for me.
So you see, my lovely actors, you don't have to spend lots of money on a showreel. You can simply record monologue, dialogue. You just have to remember to have a good, clear view, good sound. And actually, I'm willing to help you with this, but more information about that in the end of this episode. But now, let's go back to James. So James, I was about to ask you about your biggest dream as a director-writer, but I know it's kind of happening now because you almost finished your feature film, Sorority. So can you tell us more about this project, please?
Yeah, so my latest project is my feature film, Sorority. It's an urban drama about two sisters who are going through, or have been through, quite a difficult traumatic childhood, and it's basically a few days in their life as they kind of put to bed their tragic past and look ahead to a brighter future. And we shot it last year. We finished it during lockdown this year, the post-production, which was, you know, we were quite lucky because we had already cut the picture. It was just sort of the sound that had to be done remotely, and to a degree the grade as well, which isn't ideal, but I think we were lucky that at least the film was in the can before lockdown happened. So it's out of festivals at the moment. We've got the British Urban Film Festival coming up soon, and London Liftoff soon. So that'll be your opportunity to see the film.
Big day.
Big day. I want you to know that whatever happens, we're going to celebrate. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you. So last day today.
Where are you going?
Up to Manchester.
Oh, wow.
Everything's changing.
Change isn't always a bad thing. I'm excited.
And I'm sick of doing things for other people.
You need to come and join the real world with the rest of us.
You mess with one of us, you mess with us both. She's our mum.
Yeah, I know, but she's a bitch. Well, you mucked me about. It was a cruel thing to do. You'll never change. You only ever think about yourself. Why change that now?
And I'm sick of being in the middle of both of you.
I think we need a new start.
I took so much of your time already. I'm promising we're gonna be finishing shortly, okay? What is your advice to all people who just start or who planning to enter this industry? Or the one who are still waiting for their big B, so big break, as a writer, director, filmmaker?
If I had to give any advice to someone who is starting out, I would say it's okay to make mistakes. Just make sure you learn from the mistakes and keep pushing yourself. Learn new things, find your style, see what works for you, see what doesn't. Short films are great for that. Short films are there's no pressure necessarily to when you've made the film. It's not like a feature film where you've got to recoup an investment and there's all kinds of things there, but on shorts you don't have that, so it's just a great place to experiment and to learn. So I would say do that, make stuff with your friends, and then when you've done enough of that, up the scales a little bit and make something where you need a crew, and then after you've done that, make something more ambitious. Keep pushing yourself and trying new things.
Learn, look for inspiration, keep pushing. This is like really great advices. James, that was a real honor to have you here today on my show, on Actress Vlog. I would like to thank you for all your time you give us today, for all of the information, for your mentoring. I definitely learned a lot from you. I wish you all the best with your future projects, with all of the future projects you're gonna have in the future. And I definitely gonna be following your career. And maybe one day I will try to apply for one of your projects, for one of your films. Who knows? I told you I'm cheeky.
Not at all. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you very so much. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, James Webber, director, writer, filmmaker, and artist. He was our guest on today's Actress Vlog. If you would like to find out more about James and his projects, if you maybe would like to be cheeky as myself and try to apply for his future projects, all of the information about James you have below, all of his social media, his website, and yes, so just, pop in and say hello. If you like what you see, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Give us some comments. What do you think about this episode? What do you think about James? Of course, support us and ring that bell. And now, before I'm gonna go away, I mentioned that I'm willing to help you guys with your showreels. So, actors and actresses. I was offering that help before and I'm gonna offer again. Whoever is living in London and whoever is looking to record good quality of tape with monologue or some dialogue, please feel free to message Actors Vlog. I'm willing to help with my experience, with my equipment, with my time and my editing skills. So guys, first 10 people who are gonna write to me that they need help, I'm more than happy to help you, and of course that everything gonna be for free. So, I'm waiting for your messages. As always, I wish you to have a great rest of the Sunday, and see you in 2 weeks. Have a great projects, and let me know about them. Bye!